Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here today at Re-Written Vintage Homestead. I'm starting a new series today, and it's called One Thing Wednesday. I've had several people say to me, I would love to do the things that you do, but it's too overwhelming. I work, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. I wouldn't know where to start. And so we're going to do one thing every Wednesday. And today what we're going to do is we're going to try something new. The thing I'm going to try new today is I'm going to try to make my own homemade cereal out of my Indian corn flour that I made, and I will link that below, the mill that I used to do this. And I'm not an Amazon affiliate, so I get nothing out of it. It's just a great food mill. Now I have a recipe for cereal. I've made it before, and it works out really well if you use corn meal. But I want to learn more recipes with my Indian corn flour. So this may totally flop, but I'm going to try something new. We're going to do it together. So I wanted to show you, this is the Indian corn flour, and this is the regular corn meal. They're very similar in texture. I was afraid that the corn flour would be too fine, but actually the cornmeal is finer, but they're very similar. And like I told you before in my last video, the Indian corn flour has a taste of like caramel corn, sweet, and the cornmeal is like, it's going to taste like cornflakes, or it will taste like cornbread. So let's start our recipe. So if you guys want to try this using the cornmeal, just substitute it for the Indian corn flour. And I'm going to use 3/4 cup of my Indian corn flour. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Mix that up. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Mix that. And then I'm going to add cold water, 3/4 cup. So for every bit of flour or cornmeal you add, you want to add the same amount of water. It's got a pretty color, all speckled and pretty brown. Okay, and you can see it's kind of like pancake batter. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to pour it in a baking pan that's lined with parchment paper. And I'm going to spread it flat and flatten it. And I want it to connect. So this down here that is kind of loose, I'm going to move it up here so that I have a solid sheet. You want it kind of thin so you can break it into pieces. And then I'll tell you something else I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to blot some of this water. I'm wondering if the cornmeal doesn't soak up the water better. So let's get a paper towel and try that. Just take a little bit of the excess water out. Yeah, I think that helped. It helped it lay flatter and it helped it stay together. There we go. So now I have a nice solid sheet without any holes, nice and flat. Now I'm going to put that in a 350-degree oven for about 10 minutes. So this is what it looks like after 10 minutes, 350-degree oven. And so now I reduced my oven to 250. I'm going to let this cool. And then we're going to try to break it up into pieces. And it seems like it's fairly firm. But I imagine it's not going to break as crisp as the cornmeal probably would. It's going to be more like chunks, maybe granola size. We'll see. We'll give it a go. But we have to let it cool a little bit, and then we'll try to break it up. So I've let it cool. Now we're going to take and we're going to try to flip it off this paper. Let's see. See, it sticks right to it. And peel the paper off. So far, I'm really pleased. And then we're just going to take it and we're going to break it into bite-sized pieces. Once we have it broken, we're going to put it back in the oven until it's completely dry. We'll start with 10 minutes and we'll work in 10-minute intervals. And we will flip this as we do that so that it gets evenly browned on all sides. Well, good morning, everybody. Guess what I'm doing? I'm eating my homemade cereal that I made out of Indian corn. Look how good it turned out. Nice, crispy, crunchy flakes that are good. They taste like cornflakes. They're crunchier, I think, but they're really good. No preservatives, no additives, no artificial color, just corn. Corn and a little bit of sugar. You guys, this is really good. And you know what? I had no idea if it was going to work or not. It could have flopped. If it had flopped, I would have just tried the cornmeal again, which I've had that before and it's good. But I really want to learn new recipes, develop new recipes using my Indian corn. So the moral of this story for this Wednesday is to try one thing new. A new recipe, a new exercise, a new makeup, a new way of doing things. Try something new. You'd be surprised when you accomplish it, how you feel encouraged to try more and more and more. And on the homestead, you're learning all the time. Your first garden is not going to be as fabulous as the garden that you put out 5 years later, because you're going to keep learning and learning and learning. But you have to start with that first garden. You guys, try one thing today. Try one thing this week that you've never tried before. Learn something new and have a great week.